Hello, everyone, on today's IRS tax refund update. As we approach the start of the new tax season, the IRS has finally announced when they will begin accepting new tax returns for processing, so we will recap that. Meanwhile, for those of you who were planning to file your tax returns using the new free IRS e-file system, there was some unexpected news just announced, so we will take a look at what is happening. And from there, we are going to highlight some of the top reasons your tax refund may be delayed this year, along with very concerning news for those who have and will be victims of tax refund identity theft this year. Now, starting off with developing news, as the IRS has announced they will begin accepting new tax returns for processing on Monday, January 29th. Now, this happens to be 1 week later, the start of last year's tax season, which occurred on January 23rd. However, it is still within the normal time frame of previous tax filing seasons. As a reminder, the tax filing deadline is Monday, April 15th, with the exception of taxpayers in Maine and Massachusetts, who will have until April 17th, and those who were affected by storms in parts of Tennessee back in December will now have until June 17th to file their federal income taxes. If you can't file by the tax filing deadline, make sure you apply for an automatic 6-month extension to avoid being charged late filing penalties. As for those tax refunds, while the majority of filers will see refunds within 21 days of filing, there are going to be some exceptions. For those of you early filers claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit and Child Tax Credit, the IRS by law cannot process your refunds relating to those credits until mid-February. It has now been announced that the first batch of those refunds will be released starting on February 27th. And as we have seen in previous years, the bulk of those refunds will be sent out via direct deposit and paper check in early March. For those of you who were planning to use the new free IRS e-file system this year, we did get word that the new platform will now be rolled out in phases and is not expected to be widely available until mid-March, roughly 2 months after the start of the tax season. Now, the IRS did not give an explanation for this, as many had assumed the platform would be ready to go at the start of the tax season. Given the massive increase of tax refund identify theft, where someone takes your social security number and uses it to file a fraudulent return and ultimately claims a tax refund, we cannot recommend at this time waiting for that new platform to be available before filing your tax return. If you are looking to move away from the big tax filing companies like TurboTax, there is an organization that works with the IRS called the Free File Alliance, which lists tax processors who do not charge for filing taxes if the taxpayer meets certain income requirements. Moving on to very concerning news this week for those who have and will become victims of tax-related identity theft this year, and even those of you who have your tax return flagged for possible identity theft when there really was none. Now, again, tax-related identity theft is where someone takes your social security number and files a fraudulent tax return to claim a tax refund. Last year, the IRS reported working on nearly 300,000 cases of identity theft, compared to around 90,000 back in 2019. Given the record number of data breaches reported last year, it is widely expected that we are going to see a higher number again this year. What makes things even worse is it is taking the IRS an estimated 19 months to resolve identity theft cases and ultimately process the victim's legitimate tax return and refund, which is well above the IRS goal of resolving in just 4 months. We have had several viewers on this channel report that they were victims of tax identity theft, and one of them waited nearly 15 months for a resolution. So this is a problem that will continue to occur, and possibly to some of you watching. Also, as a reminder, this applies to those of you who filed a legitimate tax return, but the IRS flagged as possible identity theft when in reality there was none. If you fall into that category, you will likely receive an identity theft letter from the IRS requesting you to verify your identity, which many of our viewers have received over the last several years. Now, our best recommendation to avoid having someone file a tax return under your social security number is to file early, which will prevent them from even being able to file a return. Now, taking a look at the top reasons why your tax refund will be delayed this year, and picking up where we left off is the tax refund is on hold due to the need to complete identity verification. Now, just because you receive a letter requesting that you complete identity verification in the mail does not mean you're going to have to wait 19 months for that tax refund. There are several different letters you will receive in this situation, and the notice number will give an insight into how long your refund delay could be. Now, the most common notice received is the 5071C letter like seen here. Now, in this case, as in the case of other notices like the 5747C, 6331C, and 5447C letters, you can actually complete identity verification online in a matter of minutes. Please allow 9 weeks after completing the process to receive that tax refund before calling the IRS for an update. Now, if you receive either the 4883C or 6330C letter, then this is an indicator you may experience extended delays with that tax refund. If you receive either of those letters, you cannot complete the identity verification process online, but you must complete the process in person, which signals a more serious issue and the likelihood someone may have already used your identity to file a tax return. Also note, as we have seen in the past, a number of taxpayers who were supposed to receive one of these notices in the mail never did, which caused even further delays. So that is why it is very important to check your tax transcripts and locate any 971 codes which represent a notice the IRS has mailed out. If you have not received any letter from the IRS after 2 weeks of the date listed to the 971 code, please contact the IRS to have them reissue you a notice and indicate what the letter might be about. Another cause of your refund delay is that the IRS has still not processed your employer's wage information. Now that is important because the IRS will match what you listed on your tax return for wages and withholdings and compare it to what the employer has reported to the IRS for accuracy. If you're impacted by this particular situation, you are likely to receive a 60-day notice from the IRS, also known as Letter 2644C, as seen here. Oftentimes, there is nothing you can do except wait, however, as reported by some of our viewers. After a certain period of time, the IRS may request you to submit a copy of the tax form you received from your employer, as well as pay stubs, so that they can use those items to continue the processing of your tax return. So, if possible, make sure to have the last 2 or 3 pay stubs you received in 2023 available just in case you end up in this situation and the IRS requests them. As a reminder for those of you continuing to request help with your tax delays, to please access your tax transcripts and provide any recent codes that may appear when commenting. Now, tax transcripts oftentimes provide more information. Then where's my refund status results and may give an indication if there is a refund freeze, whether or not a notice has been sent out, and even if your tax return is under further examination or audit. We have had some viewers who will not take a look at their tax transcripts, and unfortunately, we will not be able to assist further in those particular cases. In order to access your tax transcripts, you will need to create an account on the IRS website, and we have provided step-by-step instructions on how to access your transcripts in previous videos. Thank you to all the subscribers who continue to watch this channel. We do truly appreciate the support you have given us over the last several years as one of the only channels on YouTube that regularly covers tax refund news. Let us know in the comment section below about your ongoing tax issue. In the meantime, we will keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.